How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this video. In this video we're going to look at how to paint Horus Heresy World Eaters. Like my Death Card tutorial, this is a very eye-catching color because it's very bright and it's very vibrant. But with painting white, one must be careful and very neat on his painting to make it look clean and good as it is in here. So I tried to simplify it as much as possible, and this is what I came up with. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'm going to start by priming the model, and I use Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer. I would recommend you to use a white primer instead because covering over gray is a little bit more difficult. So I started with a layer of Ulthyan gray. This is a layer paint and it doesn't cover super well as a base paint. So I started giving the model different coats over the armor. I believe I used 4 coats for it to cover over the gray. That's why I would recommend you to use a white primer and make it much easier to cover. Once I had a solid coat of that, I painted the shoulder pads and backpack with Caledor Sky. If you want a darker blue, I would recommend you to use MacLeod blue instead. I decided to go for a more vibrant blue with Caledor Sky because I wanted it to stand out a little bit more to the eye, but most of the pictures I've seen have a darker, a more violet-y blue in their blues for the World Eaters, so you can use MacLeod blue if you prefer. So when layering these colors, especially the white, be very careful to thin it down and use it in thin coats. Don't try to reach full opacity with just one coat because you will be using very thick paint and that's not very good. Here I'm using Nuln oil and I'm just lining up all the details around the model, including the blues and the whites. We're trying to be very neat and very clean in this process, but it's inevitable to stain some of the areas of white that you don't want to be black. So we're gonna come back and clean up after that, but just try to get all the recesses as best as you can, and if you mess it up, don't worry about it, you can come back and clean it up. So remember to be patient because white is a difficult color to paint and it's very easy to mess it up, to stain it with other colors or make it look bad because you used thick coats. So remember that you have to take your time and apply different coats. Even if it looks bad initially, you can come back and give it different coats to reach full opacity. Once we're done with the lining, I'm going to use Ulthyan gray and I'm going to clean up all of the places where the wash went into places I didn't want it to go. So this is a very simple step. If you were clean on the previous step, you don't need to clean up as much, but it's almost inevitable. Just make sure that the model is clean. Next, I'm going to use White Scar, and with a little bit of drying retarder to help me use it as an edge highlight, I'm going to edge highlight all of the edges of the armor. The Ulthyan gray is a kind of bluish tint, very light gray, so it's actually different and it looks very bright under the camera, but if you see it on real life, you will see that's a different kind of gray color, and this white edge highlight is gonna bring up really make the white pop up a lot more than by itself. Next, I'm using Caledor Sky to clean up the blue. This is the same step as when we were cleaning up the white. After that's done, I'm going to start with Teclis blue, and this is the edge highlight for the blues. This is just on all of the edges to make it pop up a little bit more. Remember, when edge highlighting, you have to clean up your brush every couple minutes to make sure that the paint doesn't dry on the tip of your brush, because if it does, it really ruins your fine detail brushes. So make sure to do that. Next, I'm going with Fenrsisian gray, and this is the extreme highlight for the blue. I'm only going to apply this on the very sharpest edges of the blue armor. I'm not applying it all over the place, just in the places that catch more light to make it pop up a little bit more and give it a very bright highlight. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and use Abbadon black, and with this color I'm going to paint all of the places that are going to be silver and black. Using a fine detail brush to go around the hands and to paint all of the little details around the model. Be very careful not to paint black over the white armor, because if you do, it's going to be hard to clean up. You will need multiple coats of Ulthyan gray because it's hard to cover over black with a very light gray like that. Next, I'm using Leadbelcher. Leadbelcher is going to be used as always on all of the silver areas. Be very careful on these little bumps around the armor. Also make sure to thin down all the colors that you're using. And be very careful not to paint over the white. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and use Balthasar gold, and this is going to go over the details that you want to be gold around the armor. In this case, I chose the trimming around the shoulder pads and a little bit of the backpack, and that's it. Once that's done, we're finished with the base coats. I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade, and with this color I'm going to shade all of the metallic silver and gold areas around the model. Agrax Earthshade is one of my favorite colors to use on silver, on very worn out silver like with iron and let's say rhino tracks and things like that. I'm also using it on the gold parts because it makes them look older. And yeah, be very careful not to paint over the other parts of the model, and that's it. Next, I'm going to use Eshin Gray once the wash is dried. I'm going to use this as an edge highlight to the blacks, and in this case it's just the bolter case of this model. And then I'm giving it a extreme highlight with Dawnstone. This is going over the sharpest edges and places that catch more light. Once that's done, I'm going to use Runefang steel, and I'm going to do the same thing for the silvers, just edge highlight or zenithal highlight on the places that are round. I'm just painting it on the places that catch more light and on the edges of the bolter. Once that's done, I'm going to highlight the gold with Sycorax bronze. This is going to be only an edge highlight as well. I'm not trying to cover the whole thing. And that leaves us only with the eyes to paint, and then we're going to be done. Once we're finished, I'm going to use Khorne red as a base coat for the eyes. This is gonna cover the whole lens. Be very careful to make the point on your brush and not touch any white parts. Then I'm using Wild Rider red, and this is going on the front half of the lens, about 50% from the front to the back. And then I'm going to use Fire Dragon Bright as a little dot of very bright orange on the very front of the lens. To finish it off, I'm using White Scar again, and this is just going to paint a dot on the very far back part of the lens to create this little lens effect as a reflection of light. And this is the finished model. I have to say I had a lot of fun painting this model. It's a little bit difficult or stressful at the beginning when you have to paint a very clean white, but once you get that down, all of the rest of the model is very clean and very easy to make. The model looks very eye-catching because of the light colors, and it stands out from all of the other models that I've painted from the Horus Heresy so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found this tutorial inspiring and helpful to your painting. And if you like it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. That really helps me out. If you would like to support what I do, you can become my patron on Patreon. Let me know what you would like to see next, and thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you on the next video. You stayed. Great. Thank you very much for watching my video, and if you would like to further support my channel, you can become my Patreon on Patreon. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, and you are helping me create more and better content. If you can't, that's fine, because you're helping my channel a lot just for watching and sharing, but you can read all of the details if you follow the link in the description below. I hope you can spare $1 to make this hobby of mine a job for which I can get paid. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.